Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. Today, I am at the Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood, Florida at the Pipes Conference held by the Deal Flow Events guys. And my guest is David Koch. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, so David, what brings you to the conference today?
It's an interesting conference for capital markets. I co-head capital markets at my firm, BGL, and it's interesting to hear all the different perspectives on all the changes in regulation and just growth in the market across all the different parts of deals that are being discussed today.
So have you been to a Deal Flow conference in the past, or is this one year for? This is my first time attending in person, by the way, and I'm impressed.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed too. It's actually my first Deal Flow conference.
Yeah.
I've been to several conferences over the years, but from a Deal Flow perspective, it's my first one, and I think they're doing a great job.
And how about the casino, man? This whole, this spread, I don't know, maybe you've been here before. I haven't. I was like, I'm driving into a big, guitar. What's going on here?
Yeah, it's funny. I've driven past this place a lot and never gone in. And
it's a massive property.
It's massive. And my Uber driver, when he pulled up, he said, "You're really going to like this place." It was completely unprompted. I didn't ask him if I was going to like it or not. But, a lot of conferences are held in casinos. I think they've got great convention space. And this is a good one. It's really nice. It's clean. It's got great facilities. I think they chose the right one.
Awesome. So let's get a little bit further into what you do. So in capital markets. So tell me a little bit more about you and your day-to-day and your firm.
Yeah, sure. So I co-head our capital markets group, as I mentioned. I'm responsible for all capital formation for companies. So the way that I run our business at BGL, we think about companies across their entire growth cycle. Mm-hmm. So we start with early stage, Series A type transactions and take them all the way through to the public markets. And then in the public markets, how the best way to fund them, maybe. So we think about this from a holistic approach, with a customer-centric model. Don't think that it makes sense to striate and kind of keep in certain silos, different aspects of the growth cycle. And we try to find investors that are willing to support the companies that we bank through those cycles. Sometimes they go public, and in which case, we work as, advisor to take the companies public. Sometimes they get sold.
Yeah.
We're a full service investment bank. And so we look at all options. But I think what's interesting, what's been happening over the last few years, obviously we had this big SPAC boom and then SPAC bust, but the SPAC's really an interesting product because it crosses over between private and public markets. And so it gave an alternative to the IPO. This is not a new product, but the way it evolved in sort of 2018, 2019, et cetera, was new and much more investor friendly. And so, you had this alternative which was readily used, and certainly in 2021.
It's a good statement, readily used.
And then obviously when the market went south and we had the great reset, in 22, the SPACs fell with it. I think though what the SPACs, show to issuers and to the market and investors is that capital has really become fungible. It's become fungible between private markets and public markets. It's become fungible between different structures. So whether we're talking about a common equity structure, a convertible preferred structure, structured credit, et cetera, and there's different ways to raise capital. And so, our mission is really to help companies identify what's the right product at the time that they're looking to raise capital in order for them to sort of create the long-term growth that they believe that they can achieve.
Yeah.
I think this conference here is great for that because pipes are a product, that does help companies that have already listed, obviously find larger chunks of capital when maybe their existing trading volumes just don't allow them to do that in the more traditional ways. The pipe market's obviously become an extremely important market, but it crosses over as well, and I think that's the interesting part for me is to hear about all the different alternatives.
And the education, just to elaborate on that a little bit. No, you're good. The education component when you say that, one of the differences I saw in this particular conference was the programming. Everybody's in there listening and learning. A lot of conferences you go to, everybody's in the hall. Yeah. I was a little shocked in this one so the program, I'm obviously doing interviews, so I don't get to go hang out, right? But that being said, the programming is pretty good, right?
Programming is very good. I think that this, this topic is very technical.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of changes, a lot of requirements to be sort of knowable around SEC requirements, et cetera. And so, there's always updates. What are investors doing? Yeah. How do they feel about the products? What are bankers like us, telling their companies? What are issuers doing? and then more importantly, or in some cases, what are the changes that, regulation has created that require a company that wants to raise capital through a pipe or whatever to pivot.
Yeah.
And so I think, that's where you get a lot of audience attention is really, okay, so, there's Reg A, there's, Reg E, there's Reg CF, there's the Rule 144, there's all these regs that aren't necessarily new, but they're constantly being updated and changed. And hearing, different case studies, experiences from different market participants, I think is part of the reason why this conference is interesting.
Yeah, and then you just now recall my memory. Now we covered for Deal Flow the Reg A and SPAC conference. That was last year, or was it a couple months ago? I don't even remember. Earlier this year, I don't know. And I know they have a micro cap conference coming up too. That's going to be another. I think I might head out to that one. There's a lot of different things that they're putting on. Curious about in terms of your firm. So, is there any particular niche that you're focused on versus another as an investment bank?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, so we're a full service investment bank. Yeah, we cover all industries and sectors. Obviously the capital markets. Sure. And it's important to note that, we cover the full spectrum of the capital markets from, direct lending all the way through to common equity issuances. So we're pretty agnostic when it comes to industry. We've got about 120 bankers now across the United States. We also do cross-ocean transatlantic transactions, I should say. But the the focus is the U.S. and the historical footprint of the firm has really focused in the middle markets, and so that's really where we excel. From a capital formation perspective, we like to go and broaden that out a little bit and think about bigger deals, bigger companies. One question I get a lot around in conferences and just in general is the elections and how that's impacted business. And I would say that, what we've seen is, obviously something that's probably not unexpected in the sense that, the markets have traded up. They performed well since the elections. And that's something that usually does happen when you get the election uncertainty taken out of the equation. Yeah. For what that means for business and what that means for prospective issuers is that the market is open even more. People are ready to deploy capital, put risk to work. And so we've gotten materially busier since November 5th. or 6th, I guess, because it took a day to get through all that vote counting.
Yeah, not mad at that. Well, David, man, first off, thank you for making some time for us. What I want you to do now is look into the camera. If people want to follow up, learn more about the firm, connect with you on LinkedIn or otherwise, how do people do it?
Absolutely. Probably the best way is to reach out to me via email. It's dkoch@bglco.com. We also have our website, Brown Gibbons Lang website. You can just look it up. Or reach out to me, David Koch, on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. And for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll put links to the website in the show notes so you can just click on them and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow. And David, thanks again for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Nice to talk to you.